James Cameron used to make great films. I mean, we all remember some of his stuff. But things like Avatar, they started off as a rip-off of Fern Gully, if we're going to be perfectly honest. I don't know if you've seen it, but that was an Australian thing that we all loved. And when we watched Avatar, we're like, I'm sure I recall seeing this as a child. But the new one, that cost them just as much. It took them years and years to make. And yet that was also effectively crap. I watched it on the plane and it went on and on and on, and I just preferred to watch the flight pattern rather than continue watching Avatar, the second one. I don't know, we seem to be giving these film producers more money. We give people like Disney billions of dollars and they don't seem to be producing better content. In fact, the more we pay for things, the worse it seems to be getting.
Yeah, the famous term, you can't always throw money at a problem. You got to have creativity. I agree with you. I did not like Avatar. Avatar just baffles me as somebody who's covered pop culture for years now and been a fan all my life. It's something I watched and I don't remember at all, and nobody talks about it. It's not, and it's a huge movie. It made billions of dollars, but it performs like a flop because it leaves no cultural footprint at all. It's visually great. It looked great. The water looked great. All the 3D was great. I was kind of falling asleep through it. But yes, all this money, which could feed a small country, didn't entertain me. And a lot of people feel the same way. I know there's some people out there who like Avatar, and that's fine. But no, the money being wasted, it has to be laundered at this point. I can't explain how the Marvels. I can understand why this would cost a lot of money. I cannot, but I see the Marvels and I can't understand how that cost upwards of $300 million to make. That makes no sense.
Yes, well, as a culture, so many of the stories we do today are based upon ancient stories. We're just reworking things, or Shakespeare. They're a rehash of a Shakespearean story. We used to come up with lessons and great content. I can't recall a news story or very many news stories that we've told ourselves as a civilization in the last 100 years. Are we running out of things creatively? Are we lazy? Or do we simply don't know what we want our culture to be or we want to tell our children? Because as you correctly said on some of your shows, the TV entertainment industry is a reflection of culture at large, which is why I wanted to speak to you. But our entertainment industry is boring, it's vacuous, it's cheap and nasty, and it's political dogma. Is that our future? Is that what the West has become?
Ooh, it certainly looks that way unless we complete this cultural revolution that we're in right now, that we didn't start, but it's turned into a culture war. But we've also bucked trends like, my belief is the woke entertainment got tired years ago and things should have changed already. We should have reinvented ourselves, a couple of times, but that hasn't happened because things used to get canceled. When things failed, they used to get canceled. We're getting 5 seasons of Star Trek Discovery. It's a terrible show. It's a terrible show. It should have been canceled at season 1, and in normal times it would have. But because of diversity and inclusivity, and it has a Black female lead, and because of streaming, and we just need content out there, they just kept it going, and they make it worse. So I think it's oversaturated. The creativity is still there. The desire is still there. I think what needs to happen is decentralization. I think it just needs, we still need Hollywood somewhat, but I think it's easier now than ever for people to make their own films, for people to make web series. Thanks to AI and other tools, they're going to be able to do that very soon. So I think we'll start entertaining each other. The one thing that's, it's not, scripted entertainment, but the one thing that's kicking, news's butt, entertainment news's butt, the access media's butt is YouTube. Is just people going on YouTube and we're entertaining ourselves. I watch more streaming than anything now. And I find that more real and more entertaining. So, but we do need to bring an authenticity back to entertainment. And there seems to be some desire to do that in some circles of Hollywood. We'll see if that happens, though. Time will tell.
Well, one final question here. You're in the thick of it. You speak to people at conventions. You hear all the feedback. You run weekly shows in this entire genre. Are you feeling as if we're reaching the point where there's going to be a new era of great content? Like, have we reached the point where our current entertainment is so bad that people decide they're going to make something better to entertain themselves? Because that will happen eventually. We'll get so bored. Ordinary people go, you know what? I'm going to write the next film. I'm going to write a new comic book series. I'm going to draft another novel with some real sci-fi. Are we at that point yet where we've turned around and gone, yep, it's time for a new age of creative content that isn't owned by Hollywood or the BBC or the woke politic?
Yes. I'm not a black pillar. I think things will turn around, and it will be the fans. It will be the customer. It'll be us who does it. Just like you said, good friend of mine, Eric July, runs a comic book company. May not have heard of it, called the Rippaverse. It's made millions of dollars. He started YouTube when he was a teenager, built a platform, and decided to sell a comic on his own, bypassing doesn't need Marvel, DC, or any of those. So, and that's happening with many other people. It's happening with music. So I think we're in the early stages of a new independent era that will be that cultural and creative revolution that we're about 5 years overdue on, in my opinion.